this guy looks like it's compensating for something. Hello, my babies. So seed room lighting is like for videos. Wow. Hi everyone, it's Brittany from Green Bee Flowers in Southwestern Ontario, Canada. So this video is kind of going to be a collection of footage that I've taken over the past week at least. I'm going to try and make it cohesive and you're just gonna have to bear with me. So my clothes are gonna change. Do not be alarmed. We're starting our second succession of Ranunculus right now. The first succession I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. We started about 100 corms. I've got 13 trays here, so that's 1,300 corms in our first round. I'm doing another 100 corms of every variety that we have now. I ordered between 200 and 500 corms in most varieties that we're growing this year. So we're gonna have a lot of Ranunculus this season. And it's awesome. I'm actually really excited about this. But I also have to start the anemones. Yeah. The anemones this year are going to be interesting because from what I'm starting to understand around shipping this year, there was a crop failure on the rarity and some of the white anemones coming out of Holland, Netherlands. So I'm running out of seed space already because my other shelves are currently being used for floristry things. So we need shelves again. The plight of the farmer. Every year, as you expand, you need more things, and then suddenly it all creeps up at the same time. The funeral order tomorrow, so we're doing some pretty things with roses. I also have started pre-sprouting, waking up some of my tubers that I want to collect cuttings from, specifically some of the varieties that we bred ourselves. So my hope is that in 2024, I'm going to actually be able to start selling some of those tubers. Hopefully, knock on wood. It's just saying, wooden head, wooden shoes. Wouldn't listen. So every time you knock on wood for good luck, I knock on my head because yeah, the longer you follow me, the weirder I think I become. It's fine. So we're gonna go back. I'm currently working on amandine whites, which we grew this past year. I ordered about 100 fresh corms of those, maybe more. I'd have to go look at my invoicing because I don't remember. So I'm getting these done and then working through the next couple buckets. Did I over order? Is there such a thing as over-ordering Ranunculus? I personally don't think there is. I don't think you can over-order Ranunculus. So these have been pre-soaking for about 5 hours. I just put them in buckets, pre-soak them in water, and then just still water. You can use the fish tank method if you want, but I've never had an issue just doing it the boring way. I take my corm. Sometimes you get the fun ones where there's like 2 attached to one and you've got 2 ranunculus plants. And so now instead of 100, I have 101. Woo. So with that, and to put a little bitty baby right beside it. So Ranunculus, right? We are on, I think we've started 2 successions of Ranunculus now. The first bunch is starting to come up, which is really exciting. The second one just went in like 4 days ago, so it's gonna be probably another week before we start to see any action on those. But I've been getting some questions about what ranunculus specifically we're growing, so we're gonna just run through that quickly. So from Venort, Venort bulbs, we brought back in the Amandine line of ranunculus. So the Amandine Pauline, the Amandine Bonbon, the Amandine Marshmallow, the Amandine Salmon, and the Amandine White. I think it's just white. So that's what we ordered from Venort, and I got between 100 to 200 corms from each of those. Now for the ones that we ordered from Unicorn Blooms, so this year, which we haven't specifically brought Unicorn Blooms corms in. We did bring some in last year. I'd gone in on an order with another flower farmer friend of mine, and you can see that video by clicking right here. See that thing right there if you want to see what we grew in 2022. But I was really happy with the size of the Elegance series. Now I don't grow the Cloney series yet, simply because the bulbs, the corms, right, they're very expensive, and two, they're patented, so you cannot regrow the corms from year to year. The Elegance ones, we split them into two groups last year, and so the ones that I have that are going right now in our little mini hoop house in the backyard, those are a succession that we started in the fall, and those corms will probably have to toss as well, because I don't know if you can reuse the Elegance series. I have to look into that, because I do know that there are a lot of ranunculus that have patents on them, right? So that's why you have to replace those corms every single year. Not all of them do. The Amandines from Venorts, we actually do save those and then regrow them the following year if the corms survive. And I do have some straggling Amandines going on in there as well. But for the ranunculus that we started from Unicorn Blooms, I have to just pull my order sheets out because I don't remember. Everything's labeled downstairs, but it's honestly a lot. I mean, these are my order sheets, right? These are all my farm order sheets, and you can see there's a lot on here. So let me just see if I can find the right one. It is not immediately in my vicinity, so that's going to be an interesting little thing. Anyways, I know that from Unicorn Blooms I ordered the Gaillo, G-A-I-L-L-O. I know we ordered the Blanc, so white. We have salmon, and then I think I also ordered Nero. So because I have like orange already, the clementine from like last year that we've got restarted in the gardens, I didn't need to bring in more orange. And between that and the salmon, I was pretty much covered for the orange varieties. Oh, and the Bianco Striato was the other one that I wanted to bring back in, because I'd ordered a very, very small amount of those corms through Dahlia May last year. And she is one of the, she sells the corms at retail. Her and Antonio Valente Flowers are basically the only ones in Canada who sell them at retail, right? So if you're just starting out in flower farming and you're not meeting minimums of like the big seed and corm companies like Unicorn Blooms and Venort, finding them from those flower farmers is a great option for you, because you're going to be spending like, you know, $15 to $25 on anywhere between 5 to 10 corms, and just as you're learning to grow them, that's a good option. Do that. So yeah, so those are the corms that I ordered. Now I also have a row of corms that I had gotten from another farmer friend of mine. They, I think, were from Ball, and I did a video on those when we found those in a bag last year. There's like 2,000 corms in there. So I have about 600 of those going in the little bitty hoop house there. And those ones are just a mix of like smaller corms, I guess. They're all variegated picote style corms, which I've never grown these ones before. So you know what, we're like, let's try. My goal originally was to have those going for like Christmas, but what I didn't account for, which in hindsight was really dumb, is the fact that I needed to put light in the greenhouse to keep them going, right? It's much easier to grow ranunculus going into the spring season than it is to grow them going into the winter season without an additional light source, because the sun where I live starts to go away and we are without sunshine at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Things you think I should know that I didn't think about at the time. So those nuncs just decided they were going to go dormant for a while, which is fine, and so now they are starting to come up, and surprisingly they keep surviving the deep freezes that we have under landscape fabric in the hoop house. And I, at this point, would just be really happy if they'd put some blooms out kind of by Easter, because I mean, 6 months behind schedule is no big deal. So that's where we are with the ranunculus. Okay, so when it comes to the ranunculus, I don't think too hard about it, right? I soak the ranunculus for anywhere between 4 to 6 hours. Set a timer, don't set a timer, it doesn't really matter. And then once they're soaked, drain the water, let them sit, dry off for a little bit, and then put them in a layer of soil, and then cover the tops with soil again. So these are just in straight seed trays. These ones specifically are ones that, you know, had holes in the bottom, or like I can't use them to bottom water anymore, so they're perfect for pre-sprouting corms. And then after, so this is one we started here about 2 weeks ago, the Elegance Bianco. You guys can see that right there. So that's starting to come to life. And then over here are the ones that I've already moved under the grow lights here. So even from like yesterday, this one's like, these ones are right coming, right? And then this one here, once I start to see, you know, 2 to 3 corms starting to come to life in one of the trays, I move it under the grow lights. And then they start to perk up pretty quickly. That essentially means that like the roots have started to develop. Here, these ones you can't see as well, but there's a couple there that are starting, as well as the ones that are like in the back. So it's essentially just a waiting game. I try not to let the soil get too wet. I have a mister here that I just give it a little bit, but you don't want to overwater the ranunculus because they are prone to rot. And so I'm essentially just making sure that the corms stay hydrated while also not soaking them, because I don't want them to get icky, and that does happen sometimes. Must you always? You do? Okay, so even despite that like wickedly cold freeze that we had last week, where the temperatures in most of Southwestern Ontario dipped down to like -20, so like normal winter weather for us, all of the ranunculus that we have going on in the hoop house survived, and they look great. And I think pretty soon we're actually going to start seeing some buds. As we're starting to have longer days now, you know, the sun's not setting until much later in the day. I'm really excited because that means we are going to hopefully start seeing buds coming up on the nuncs, because the anemones, as I've shown you already, are like, they're ready to go. So even since like the last time we were in here, you can see like these ranunculus here. So these are all the Elegance ranunculus. There's Viola and Clementine, and I think some of the Bianca striatos planted in here, plus a couple of the smaller Amandine stragglers behind. But like they're looking so much healthier even than like a couple weeks ago, and you can see like, you know, all that brand new growth in here. This one is a this one back here is a Clementine, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the first one to put a bud out, you know, but nuncs surprise you. The Christmas lights, right, iridescent lights, we put these in here because it's keeping the ground, right, from getting like frozen, especially when we have that really cold weather. So this I'm quite happy with. And then on this side here are the Picote corms, which just, they don't quit, y'all. I keep thinking they're gonna die back and they don't. And then they just kind of keep coming back up. And I mean, you do you, Ranunculus. The end of next week, the eucalyptus is going to be moving back into our covered hoops that are on the other side, and we're going to be putting in some of the pre-sprouted ranunculus in this row right here. So I should be able to get about another 300 in that section. But what is perhaps the most exciting of all the things is we're starting to see our tulips come to life. So we pulled out some of our tulip crates. You can see there's a couple more back there. These we are starting to get ready to wake up for our April subscriptions. And so here we've got purple. I've got, I believe, apricot here. And this one's fun because it's like right there. Look, it's like right there. So I'm really excited for these because we're gonna start seeing tulips come up very shortly. You can see the ground's cracking on those, so that's a good indication. And then in about a week, we're gonna start pulling the other ones out of. So essentially, let me take you around to the mud. Ugh, it's so muddy right now. Whew. So much mud. But essentially here, this hoop house here, we have the rest of the tulip crates, well, the mini hoops. We have the tulip crates in here, and then the remainder of them are going to be pulled out, and then we are going to be moving the eucalyptus plants into this hoop. Then these ones are going to get plastic over them so that we can start thawing the ground out. So in a couple weeks, we can start putting ranunculus back in here. And the remaining ones, because we have a bunch more of these hanging out somewhere back there, are going to actually go to the farm, and we're going to be setting up mini hoops so that we can start waking up the narcissus and also tulips. So that's it for today's update. As always, if you're not subscribing and you would like to follow along with our flower journey, please hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, always comment below. I do my best to answer as many questions as I possibly can before I get into the next video roll. I hope everybody has a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. So I'm not 100% sure how much ranunculus is too much ranunculus. There's like 100 to 150 corms in each one of these trays. And right now I am currently starting the second succession of ranunculus, because we're gonna have a lot.